Hi, um, I wanted to do another video, and I wanted to talk about the Seattle City Council and Fort Lawton. They're planning on turning it into affordable housing. There's a lot of people within the city that do not want that to happen, and for good reason, because Fort Lawton is connected to another area. Um, Before I get ahead of myself, I want to say this. I wrote a letter to Bruce Harrell. He's with District 2. Harrell, Harrell. Anyway, his first name's Bruce. He's with District 2 of the Seattle City Council, and he happens to be the council president. In Minneapolis, where I currently reside, we have the head of the city council. They're called the head here, I guess, but there it's known as he's known as the president of the Seattle City Council. Let me see here. If I can get back to the story that I wanted to find. Yes, okay, here we go. Seattle will turn historic Fort Lawton into affordable housing. Normally, that would not be that big of a deal because Seattle does need more affordable housing, but Seattle is going the wrong way about this. Seattle, it may be past the point of no return for Seattle. Seattle may have screwed itself so bad. When I say Seattle, I'm not talking about the city in itself, the city of Seattle. I'm talking about the city council and the transplants that have moved here and the investors that have squeezed every single dime that they can squeeze out of Seattle. I'm talking about that Seattle. I'm not talking about the city within itself, the ground. I'm not talking about the atmosphere. I'm not talking about the look of Seattle. I'm talking about the overall inner workings of Seattle. Now here it says Seattle will turn historic Fort Lawton into affordable housing. Now my question is, did the city of Seattle, did they talk to the citizens in that area? Now there's a lot of citizens that care about Seattle. They have been here for a long time, and they'll be here after all the transplants move out. After all the ones that have made all their money decide to leave. I'm talking about the city of Seattle that's been here, that's had family here since the beginning of time, basically. It says here, the Seattle City Council unanimously voted in favor of converting the city's historic Fort Lawton, 35 acres of land next to Discovery Park, into affordable housing. I believe that the 35 acres that are next to Discovery Park should become part of that park as a way to save that park. It says here we must continue to act to address our affordability and housing crisis. You've had an affordability and housing crisis for a very, very long time. And it strikes me funny that all of a sudden you all would be concerned about it now. It says here this plan, which the City Council, Mayor Jenny Durkin said following the City Council Monday, their approval to turn the former military property into affordable housing units. This plan builds on our commitment to create hundreds of more affordable homes at Fort Lawton on a piece of public property while ensuring that our neighborhoods can be vibrant, livable spaces today and for the next generation, she said. After more than a decade of community engagement, we can finally use this public land at Fort Lawton for hundreds of affordable homes, surrounded by parks and created space for everyone. I look forward to signing this plan into law in the coming weeks. As we develop this critical public space, we will continue to engage the community to ensure we stay true to this vision. Now, it says here, Durkin originally advanced her $90 million proposal for Fort Lawton in April, according to the mayor's office. This legislation will bring mixed income affordable housing. Mixed income, my ass. It's going to be for the upper middle class and the rich. It's not going to be for the ones that are making $20,000 or less. People that are on disability, people that are on veterans pay, and people that are on welfare ain't going to get a dicking thing out of this whole fucking mess. Sorry for the words, and if you don't like them, you can just go on to another video. This is for people that care about Seattle and they want to try to do something to fix it. It says here, the legislation will bring mixed income affordable housing, parks, recreational space. It could create up to 238 new affordable homes, including permanent supportive housing for seniors and apartments for low-wage working individuals and families. Home ownership opportunities. You notice that she says low-wage working individuals. Now, I understand it takes money to make money, and for those that work, that's great. If you can hold down a job and you can make money, you're a whole lot better off than being on disability, which only pays you $771 a month. I happen to be on that at the moment due to a disability. And please don't say it's the way I look. People have said that. It says here, a substantial portion of the land at Fort Lawton will be used for park and park-related uses with preservation of existing natural areas that support wildlife habitat. You get housing that close to natural wildlife habitat, and the wildlife habitat is going to be screwed up. If I could, I would love to give all of the Seattle City Council a timeout. I would love to put them in detention. I really would. It says here at the council meetings Monday afternoon, council member Teresa Musquati argued in favor of the plan. Musqueda, Musquade. I'm hoping if I got your name wrong, I apologize. I'm bad. We are in a housing crisis, and this is desperately needed housing as well as public space. Now, if the Seattle City Council and the mayor had done what I suggested a couple of years back, and you would have closed off the city to implants coming in, clogging up the works, y'all wouldn't have a housing crisis now, would ya? The project has faced years of pushback from neighborhood groups. However, see here, it's a pushback from neighborhood groups. However, let me start over. This project has faced years of pushback from neighborhood groups who say it is a bad location, too close to existing neighborhoods and schools. What affordable housing could do to Seattle neighborhoods. Others have argued that the former Army base should become part of Discovery Park, which I think it should. I think it should become part of Discovery Park. I think you guys should figure out another way to do affordable housing. I have talked to the city council on this until I am blue in the face. I'm pretty upset about it. It's hard for me to do anything because I live in Minneapolis now. And due to a stupid mistake that happened when I was younger, I moved to Seattle. I moved from Seattle to here. When you're young and you're stupid and you don't understand what's going on and you don't value what you have and you don't... I had it nice when I lived in Seattle. I was in Capitol Hill. I had a nice apartment. I worked at the Pike Place Market and an art gallery. I was making money back then. I had an apartment. It was a one bedroom. It cost me about $500 a month for the one bedroom. I was having dinner out on the town a couple, 3 or 4 nights a week. I was going to the Space Needle occasionally for lunch. Yeah, it was just a really great time. But all of a sudden, after I decided to move here, Seattle kind of took a nosedive. Microsoft was starting up. Microsoft was just getting started at that time when I lived in Seattle. Microsoft is one of those companies that gets a hard pass from me, only because Bill Gates and Melinda Gates have done an awful lot of things for Seattle. They have done a lot of things, yes, a lot of shady stuff. They have ruined companies that did not want to conform to Microsoft. And when I say that, I'm tiptoeing very lightly because I don't want to accuse Bill and Melinda of anything that I can't back up. But from what I gather through history and news and reporting, is that anything that doesn't want to become part of Microsoft or that does not want to be sold to Microsoft, they are ruined. They're put out of business. Having said that, Bill Gates has made a ton of money off of Seattle and the rest of the world. Bill Gates has also donated back to Seattle through public libraries, donated internet computers, and donated internet service and all of that. Yes, there's been strings attached, which I don't like. I don't believe in censorship, but Bill Gates did donate those to the library, and within that, he should be allowed to put strings on them. In the library, they are a library resource, and so in the library, you should not be allowed to surf porn. If you're using it for a lawful purpose, such as me, occasionally I do artwork, and I have to look up an occasional nude for a drawing I have to do or a painting I have to do. Before I got my computer system where I'm at now, I relied on the library. I was very discreet. I made sure that it didn't offend anybody. But some people just like to be nosy. They like to just be in your business because they can't see what you're doing. They have to know what you're doing because a lot of things start racing through their heads. Now, back to Seattle and company. I wrote letters. I've been writing letters to the Seattle City Council. They've gotten to the point now where they will not write me back. I can be quite annoying. But Seattle is at stake here. I don't want Seattle to turn into another Detroit, because once Seattle turns into another Detroit, there is no fixing Seattle. I would love to be able to stop the border of Seattle. I would love to be able to stop people from moving into Seattle. If you are moving into Seattle and you are, say you are renewing your driver's license from one state to the next, you just moved in and got a new address from another state or another city, then I say that you should have to wait a year before you can have that transferred over as a penalty for clogging up the works. I also think that there's a housing shortage, which there is. There's a homelessness problem, which there is. There's a drug problem, which there is. I have contacted the city council with loads and loads of ways to help. I've given them really, really good ideas, and they will not do nothing. They will not listen to my ideas, nor will they try to do anything that remotely helps Seattle. They will do everything they can to help the big business. They will do everything they can to help themselves make more money. They will do everything they can to avoid the citizens that care about Seattle. I told the city council that it would be easier for me to help them if they're very serious about getting this stuff fixed. It would be very easy if they could just help me relocate back to Seattle. Yes, I guess I would be considered a transplant, but I did live there before. So I know all the inner workings and in and outs of Seattle. The place I lived at, the place I lived at was very nice, but Capitol Hill has changed and it's become very spendy. Um, I would love to have an apartment in downtown Seattle, at least a nice one bedroom. If I could get a one bedroom, I would volunteer my services to Seattle. I would help them start fixing the homeless problem. I'd help them with their drug problems. I'd help them with the high cost of living. I'd help them with their affordable housing problems, because I've been working on this for over 10 years now. I have been really putting a lot of thought into this, and I've been dealing with this, and I've talked to a load of people that can get this stuff done if Seattle City Council is really interested in getting the stuff fixed. And I don't think they are. I think they're just a bunch of hot air. That's personal. That's my personal belief on it. There's nothing they've done to make me think any different. Anyway, I'm going to let you go on that note. It's almost a longer video than I expected to make. But I shall let you go. Until the next time, Seattle, I will be talking about Lawton Park more, and I'll let you know if I got an update from any of the city council that I've been writing to, if they've contacted me back. Anyway, this has been All Things Considered, because I consider all things. Have a good night, Seattle, and all points beyond.